After making a bunch of versus battles regarding Jujutsu Kaisen and its power scaling, today I wanted to actually make a dedicated video regarding the scaling and where I believe Jujutsu Kaisen realistically should be at. As a lot of people like to say, I pick and choose where Jujutsu Kaisen is depending on which character I put them up against, which honestly isn't really true, but with that aside, let's establish where Jujutsu Kaisen exactly is at. Before I can actually give my opinion on where they are at, I have to actually talk about domain expansions and how exactly they work. Now, domain expansions are explained to work as buffs from a video game, where the user's capabilities are enhanced to at least 120% while also guaranteeing none of your attacks will miss. It's also to be described as a landscape for the user's imagination, which gives the user all these cool aesthetics within the domain. You can get most, if not all, of this information by the first time Gojo literally explains what a domain is and shows off his domain expansion to counter another domain, that being Jogo's. Jogo being the same character who everyone uses to say the verse is at least mountain level. Reason why is because, well, in his domain there is a mountain. Granted, I've used this before, but this is with me giving JJK the benefit of the doubt in matchups, plus the verse itself kind of contradicts this line of scaling, and I even mentioned this in videos before. Now, yes, you being able to generate that amount of cursed energy to a degree is pretty impressive, but it doesn't really fully correlate with your physical capabilities. We've seen this with Jogo himself being able to hurt Sukuna with his Meteor that wasn't even able to level a city. Meanwhile, he would just get completely cooked by Sukuna in a battle of domains. How can Sukuna get hurt by a city level attack yet win in a battle of domains where Jogo has a mountain apparently in it? Well, it's because Sukuna simply has a more refined domain rather than him physically being above the domain himself. Granted, Sukuna and Gojo are probably the one exception because they're just simply built different, but them plus like Yuki and maybe Kenjaku are the only ones who would really scale to this. And what makes this funnier is that Jogo and Dagon have a comparison between one another, with Jogo being on a whole other level without even having his domain active, and yet Dagon is the same person who can make an island in his domain while Jogo can only make a mountain. So what does this mean, guys? Is Jogo now island level because of this statement? Or is the statement unreliable, and because Dagon has an island domain and Jogo has a mountain domain, Dagon is now stronger than Jogo? Both answers are wrong. The correct and simple answer is that it's silly to apply domain expansion scaling to pretty much any character that isn't Sukuna, Gojo, or maybe Yuki and Kenjaku. Now, with the domain stuff dismissed, we can look at the actual feats that the verse showcases, which Gojo and Sukuna both actually do have a full output of power. Both in his 15 finger and in his Heian era form, he could level a large city with his Fuga technique, while Gojo with a 200% hollow purple could just manage to level one, while also cooking Sukuna in the process. And as I mentioned earlier, Jogo himself could destroy a good chunk of a city, so saying that the high tiers aren't exceeding this tier is kind of silly, but I honestly don't think they're exceeding any higher tiers than city level. And for those who are going to mention the statements, no, a special grade being able to wipe out a nation doesn't literally mean that a special grade can wipe out a country. Along with Sukuna being a threat to the world not literally meaning he's going to destroy the planet when he gets all 20 fingers. And if anyone mentions Yuki's black hole, that's cool, nobody in the verse really scales to it. So as far as the higher tiers go, they are exceeding the city level tiers, while the majority of the verse is not going anywhere higher than this. So no, Yuji is not country level because he can make Heian era Sukuna bleed, or Toji's island level because he can hurt Dagon. Domains are a hacks-based ability that simply cannot be used for AP scaling. However, we do have some pretty impressive feats that are established early on in the series that a lot of the verse should upscale from. Like the finger bear that Megami fought along with Mekamaru, being able to emit enough cursed energy that's enough to level even city blocks. What helps is the fact that these two are pretty fodder in the grand scheme of things, so Yuji, Maki, and all of your favorite characters are going to be massively upscaling the city block tier. But unfortunately for JJK, that's about as far as you can go for characters that aren't named Gojo or Sukuna. And that should do it for the AP section, and now we can move on to speed, which is unfortunately a lot more inconsistent than attack potency. Like, Gege himself has even admitted that he doesn't really take speed seriously. The feats themselves as well are very controversial, since we have stuff like Maki getting hit by Speedo Sound Naoya, but then we have Kashimo presumably shooting light speed blasts. Yeah, with JJK, speed is really no in between. To address the Naoya feat, Maki directly surpasses him when she's fully realized, so the relevant characters like Yuji should exceed those early machs in terms of combat and reaction speed. As for higher level feats, well, Kashimo's blast mainly is lightspeed in a vacuum, while Toji and Maki quote unquote reacting to lightning is really them just evading Nues' electricity. So for those who are going to bring that up, I don't know. I really don't think those feats are that valid. I just bring it up every now and then just to say that, oh, well, they could be lightning speed. And then there's the infamous Hakari feat where instead of getting shot in the head, he managed to move up, so he got his arm removed instead. I honestly don't know why this is even a feat anyway, but a lot of people use it. However, the main issue stems from we don't know if Hakari actually intended on moving his hand up or if he just got lucky. And it also just looks bad when your best speed feat arguably is just a character getting blitzed. Like, you know what I mean? It just doesn't really look good. Consistently though, I do believe the strong characters should be reaching those early mach speeds, as things like piercing blood are established to be at the speed of sound, and a lot of the strong characters are easily able to evade it. However, I don't really think it goes much higher than that consistently. And for those who are going to bring up the Kashimo feat, I say this time and time again, it only moves at light speed in a vacuum of space. And to me, I'm not gonna lie, it just looks like Sukuna straight up aim dodged the attack, so I'm gonna dismiss the feat. In conclusion, Jujutsu Kaisen is not as strong as you believe, and hopefully this video taught you a thing or two. If there are other verses you believe that I should go over or overhyped, well, let me know down in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next one.